found a picture on Pinterest, a shaker style antique kitchen cabinet, and I sketched it on watercolor paper. I'm going to be using Hemi gouache paint set. Different layers of watercolor. First layer, I let it dry completely before putting the second layer on. And each time I will add either a different color, either lighter or darker. Or like in case of the window, later I'm going to add an impression of like trees and grass and bushes outside. Now the trim is white, so I mixed blue with gray and outlined it and added shadow. And for the cabinet, I'm going to be doing the same thing, putting the first layer on. And with the first layer, when I come back, I always let it dry, because if you don't let it dry when you put your second color on top, it will just move around and blend in. Of course, when you're doing the second layer, you have to be careful and work fast, because it reenacts the other paint been underneath. Now I'm going to start adding a little brighter colors to make it pop, and each time I go back I'm going to let it get darker and darker. How I get this effect is how much water I use. That's what I like about the gouache paints. I'm adding a highlight back in that corner. And I'm using a dry brush to blend it in a little better. As you can see, I go back over the same spot. Like I said, build in layers. And now I'm going to outline. Again, I took some blue, mixed it with gray, but this time I left it a little more blue. And this is what I was talking about. Now I'm going to come back and add some greenery to that window. And if you don't like what you can see here, I tried to take it away with a dry brush and it just wasn't enough. So I used a paper towel and dabbed it. And came back and just kind of with just some water on my brush and blended it in a little better. Now I'm back on the cabinet because that first layer has dried, and I'm adding some shadows and I'm giving it a little more color to make it pop. Now after I'm done putting the color on, as you can see, layer and layer, took about 3 layers. So now I'm going to do the bottom, and then I'm going to go over it and I'm going to antique it, make it look like 100 years old. Have the paint where it's chipped away or worn away from use. I'm going to use like a medium dark color to put on first, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to put a lighter color and a darker color on top. And then I'm just going to load my brush with some water, and I'm gonna hit it on a paper towel that I have sitting beside my painting to take some of the extra water off, because I don't want to add too much water at once and then end up with a puddle. But then I'll use that to blend with. I like antiquing like that and making it where the edge it looks like it was worn away because it's just been used so much. Now I'm putting it on the doors. This door, I want it to like it was worn so it doesn't shut properly. It like the hinge just gotten, pulled out of place a little bit from use. So I added some dark, I guess it was almost like a black. I think I mixed it with a little brown because I didn't want it to start black. And see, using different colors, a darker, a medium, and a light for the chipped areas, it just makes it look a little more realistic. And you can have fun with it too. You can put it anywhere you want. Now I'm going to go back and use some blue, a darker blue, and I'm going to go over where show the wood detail a little more. Especially important in the molding up here. It's just going to make it more 3D looking instead of flat. But that's the reason why, if you noticed, when I did a sketch, I didn't go back over and lightly erase the sketch to make the pencil marks lighter so they would not show as much, because I knew I was going to go back and do this detail using a script liner brush. Of course, I gotta put some distressed look around the knobs, like the paint had been chipped off from use. Now I'm going to do the straw hat. I love straw hats, wearing them out when I'm gardening. Keeps the sun off of you, but at the same time, it just helps keep your head cooler. Let's see, now I'm going to start with the jar. I'm going to be using more like an aqua blue instead of the like periwinkle blue. Now I'm going to be putting a base coat down for the flowers with the gouache paint. I'm using white. Now the flowers, you will see I do multiple layers. You don't have to do it this way. This is just the way I like to do it. Add a little fuchsia pink. That's like what I want to call it. And the white paint is still wet, so it's easy to blend it in together with a little water on your brush. And now while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm gonna do the cat. I really love how the cat's up there sleeping, and that's what they do. I'm more of a dog person, simply because I don't like the way the cats can go anywhere they want on your counters. But I love all animals. Any animal shows up at my door in need, I'll feed it, I'll take care of it. We have a few stray cats, in fact, here, and I got one that I let in when it's bad weather. I named him Simon. It's a really cute cat. Yeah, but I'm definitely a dog person. Pugs are my favorite. Oh man, I love pugs so much. I'm the pug lady. Now that I got the detail on the cat done, I'm just going to take again a little bit of water on my brush and blend it in. And you have to be careful not to have too much water loaded on that brush. It's better to start off with a little. Now we get to do the detail on the hat. I'm going to give it like a crisscross motion. And with this I'm using a liner brush. And then I'm going to go back with a little water in the brush and kind of blend it and fade it all in. I'll leave a little bit standing out. Now it's time to put the flowers on. I mixed the fuchsia with a little bit of white and watered it down. And I'm just putting it here and there. Kind of, I would say, like squiggly lines to put it on instead of dabbing, because I want different textures, because this is for the background, you know, like the flowers are in the back. Now I'm doing the leaves. And I figured it would be easier if I kind of laid out where I'm gonna put them so I can kind of see. So I go around and put the stems. Afterwards, I'm going to go back and fill it in with some more flowers. Again, this is how I do some of my watercolor paintings, is with layers, and I mean, that's so far I've done 1, 2, 3 layers for the blooms, and then this is the first layer for the leaves. After I was done videotaping this watercolor painting, I realized I didn't put the stems down in the jar, which I added afterwards. And as you can see, I'm using really just one color for the leaves right here because they're going to be in the background. Now I'm going to add the blooms back on top. Again, another layer. This time I'm using a really dark layer because I'm going to come back with a highlight. And the brush I'm using for this is an old brush. It's got paint built up on it, so, you know, and then it's kind of spread out. It's good to save some of those old brushes like that. They got a little stiff and paint built up in them over time, and they kind of, you know, smushed down and worn down. They give really neat texture to some of the paintings you do. Now it's time for the highlight, and I'm doing it while the fuchsia is still wet. And what I'm doing is I wish you could see it. I should have shot this at a different angle so you can see. I am dabbing just the tip of that paintbrush instead of the whole paintbrush itself, and just dabbing the tip into the paint, and then coming and using the same motion to put the flower on, just using that tip to dab, and I'm going down, back and forth, down, back and forth. Okay, I'm back using the script brush to put more leaves back on. I'm just gonna put them back on where they already were. Some of them I want to look like they're coming through. And now this time I add a little color to the leaves. I will put a little lighter green and a little yellow, and some of them I'll make even darker. And I'm not really watering it down either. I'm using the full strength gouache. And here's the finished part. I love the way it came out. I love the cat, the flowers. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. I have more videos coming.